Sure. John Webster, Director of Regulatory Affairs at ICETEC. ICETEC is an energy solution provider. We integrate with microgrids. We're giving a software guidance system to central plant assets, combined heat and power, thermal energy storage. We participate in wholesale markets. We provide regulation with storage devices. We also have gotten into peak load management, utility rate optimization. We know as a community what we want. I think that we want more resiliency, and there's a lot of discussion about what's the best path forward in a way that's sustainable and in a way that you can replicate it. And I think that tends to favor, and I think that this came out in the discussion, a market-based incentive system rather than simply a grant proof of concept system. I think that it's critical for more microgrid deployment and more resilient distributed resource deployment to kind of tease out what are the societal benefits and to try to design a sustainable revenue stream that's directly associated with them. I think that to the extent that a retail rate or a wholesale program or a retail program could integrate distributed resource deployment and development into the regional planning process, and you could bring to the end users and to the retail ratepayers the cost savings associated with reduced transmission development, reduced distribution system maintenance. I think that to the extent that you can bring the values of microgrids to the end users in a retail rate design, that's a critical and sustainable way to incent microgrids and urban development. I think that there are two things that characterize campus-style microgrids. One is they're putting a value to things that we don't as a market value, such as carbon reduction, such as thermal efficiency, such as the ability to go into island mode and provide a resilient, safe refuge. So, what we can learn from that is that if we figure out a way to create a financial revenue stream associated with those things, we're going to see increased investment because universities have been investing in microgrids for 20 or 30 years. The other thing is that universities find their way around or have natural carve-outs to a lot of the regulations that inhibit multi-user, multi-unit microgrids just by virtue of being a university. And so if we can look at what's worked on the university level as far as allowing multiple buildings and even across the street to have a certain rate design and to have avoid some of the pitfalls, the regulatory hurdles of having to go before the PSC and basically become a utility, you would have more widespread multi-user community microgrid projects. Sure, I think the two that were hit on today were, and this is a direct application of the campus style, is the franchise law that creates a barrier to a third-party developer from providing power to multiple customers, providing power to units that are separated by a public street or right-of-way. And I think that looking at microgrids in the current distributed generation retail rate and the standby charge that's associated with that retail class are the two biggest hurdles. And both came up today in the context of things that we know in some way need to change, but how to do that and keep rates fair to the rest of consumers is the difficulty, and there's a lot of hope that will be addressed in the practical proceeding. I think that there needs to be an interaction between wholesale and retail incentives. I think that we need to put a number to the ancillary services that microgrids, storage devices, either one of those combined with renewables bring to the distribution system. It reduces congestion, particularly if it's associated with time of use pricing and peak load management. It reduces emissions in a lot of ways. It allows you to more efficiently integrate renewables. So to the extent that you can define the products that we all agree, microgrids and storage devices and renewables and packages that encompass all of those with resiliency. If we can define those values and quantify them, that's my hope is the outcome of the REC proceeding. And once that happens, I think you'll see a lot of people coming into the third-party developer space for microgrids.